All right. We are live. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is episode 21. 21 of the Shit That Needs to Be Said show. And here we are hanging out Wednesday. I got my haterade.
Glass of disappointment.
Nice. I have my bottle of disappointment is over here. I got to finish my cup of haterade first. And then I get into the glass of disappointment. All
Dude,
right.
another Wednesday on the Shit That Needs to Be Said show, huh?
Yep. And we're kicking it off with a bang. We got two whole people in here right now hanging out with us. uh, so, uh, so Losi did a thing.
Right.
I'm sure if you've been awake, you've probably heard about the new Losi dirt bike. But I do have an exclusive that I'm going to share with everybody right here on this show that nobody has talked about. Nobody has said a single thing about it. Mr. Brown, howdy,
What's
howdy.
going on? Feel like I talked to you just the other day.
Yeah, nobody has mentioned this, and I think it is a very big deal. Big deal. And it is, I think it's pretty telling about the future. The future.
The future.
But, man. So I went ahead and placed mine pre-ordered for the bike.
Yeah. You're ordering just so we're clear. You're ordering a Losi dirt bike.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
I mean, if you can look at picture me on a dirt bike,
I know you're a big motocross guy.
picture me on a dirt bike, picture me on a
For those
quad.
of you who don't know, Rich
Another
used to
one.
race motocross. So
Yeah. So for all of those who don't know, yep, I used to race motorcycles. So it seemed like a crime for me not to have the newest and supposedly best RC motorcycle ever created in the history of RC motorcycles.
Thompson RC in the house.
What's up, Thompson? Now, I have seen and watched the videos about the Venom RC dirt bike that looks dangerously familiar to the Losi. But after doing some homework, I do see that there are some fairly significant differences in the two. The old Venom had the gyro and the motor were run off the same motor, and they were in the rear tire, so the bike wouldn't have worked quite as well. But that was pretty typical of all RC motorcycles up to this point. Have always had the gyro in the rear tire, primarily because it's easy and you don't have to have a drive mechanism like a chain to run the rear tire. Although the Venom did have a drive mechanism, it did have a chain that ran it because the chain ran the rear tire and the gyro. It's kind of a complicated bike, but I did see the guy said he's got like freaking 18 of them in his shop, and I did see him run several of them, and they look okay. But I can say that looking at the running video of Losi, they're not the same. Technology's come a long way.
Oh, my camera's driving me nuts today. I can't seem to get this right.
Yeah, it looks good. I wouldn't even worry about it.
I was trying to get it to where I was like looking at you, but I can't. I gotta whatever. I didn't want to look at you.
I have my camera placed right directly above.
I'm sure this is exactly what my audience wants to hear right now. That's how I got my camera.
Yeah, no, I've always placed the camera right above where I'm at on screen, so that way it looks like I'm looking at the people in the screen, but I'm actually watching myself on the camera.
I'm trying to look at you people. I'm trying.
Yeah, I did also order some of the aftermarket parts because also I could not help myself. Couldn't help myself. Um, I can say that it is probably, and I assume there's probably going to be people that are do it. It's pretty easy to drop $1,000.
Right.
$500 for the bike, another $500 in aftermarket stuff. You could do that in 15 minutes of shopping at the Losi store without
Here this shit's talking starts. I was waiting for this.
Oh man.
It's a purse. It's a man purse.
Yep. The other kind of sneaky thing that Losi / Horizon did was, they made the bike and they're selling it with this battery.
Right.
Now they have an RTR version that comes with a charger and a battery. It's only $50 more. But the really sneaky thing is this little G2 on the smart batteries. I did not know this, but the generation 2 of the smart batteries cannot be charged on a regular LiPo charger. It has to be a smart charger.
Well, and I just found that out. I mean, I had generation 1s. I knew that, and this goes back to RC. Well, this goes back to everything. I mean, this is like everything. Is people prioritizing their shit. So you can't cross anything.
Yep. Well, I mean, Horizon is definitely they're definitely going the route of the smart battery for everything, the smart technology for everything, because it's safe.
Well, I mean, to be quite honest with you, I enjoyed the smart battery. The only thing that I don't like about it is the life of them, to be quite honest with you. I feel like they are a short-lived battery.
Yep.
For the price that you pay for them.
Well, the good news is this is a pretty inexpensive. It's a 2S, 5,000 milliamp battery, and it's $48. So
still $50. I mean,
and it's a 50C. I mean, it's definitely pricier than an Amazon battery that I would typically have gone and bought an Amazon battery. But the first thing I thought of was, I'm going to go get a 2S Amazon battery. I'm going to open up the little flap to put the battery in, and
RC Poster Boy joining us.
So yeah, I kind of figured I'm just gonna.
I mean, I see there's a couple people in the house. Hello to those lurkers in the back.
The lurkers. What's happening, lurkers?
Is my man crush here?
By the way, we're still blaming you all for the views being down. It is your fault. So keep that in mind. Even all you lurkers out there, it's your fault too.
We need more lurkers. Basher Boy, what do you think of that new BBX? I tried to ask you last time. I wanted to know your thoughts. He's probably in love. I don't even want to hear it. He's probably like, oh my, did you see, what is it? Scale Builders Guild did a video about the BBX, and he's like, oh, I totally just like, he was just like, I had to wipe the drool off the end of the video to watch it.
I did leave Matt a nice comment because, Matt doesn't do enough running videos. I'm a fan of running videos. It's probably most of the videos that I watch of RCs are running videos because I don't really care much what people have to say. But it was nice to see kind of an extended Scale Builders Guild running video because, I mean, the man's got style. He definitely knows what he's doing. He is a
look. He does cameras. He's in the entertainment industry.
He's a professional. He works for an editing. I believe it might be an editing school or a videography school. But yeah, he's a professional. So when he puts his mind to it, it's.
The video was good. I didn't have a problem with the video. I just had a problem.
Yes. Looks like a great buggy. Looks like the old Skill fighting buggy. I said, Tamiya, anytime they come out with a new rig, it's kind of like this one is kind of a big step forward for them because
Oh yeah, hex heads.
they actually put hex heads. They've got metal bodied shocks. Apparently, it also has some bearings in it. It's not just a completely bushing, you know.
I won't say.
The old Grasshopper, it didn't even come with metal bushings. It's got plastic bushings in it.
Nice.
I mean, tragic. But
it looks cool. I'm not gonna lie. It looks cool.
It looks cool. The way Matt had.
To me, it's my tomato. Tomato always makes cool looking stuff. In my opinion.
Yeah, they are fantastic at making very realistic RC cars. They have a knack for making models, car models and planes and bikes and all kinds of stuff. Their model kits are amazing, and their RC cars sort of reflect that. But yeah, I don't, you're not gonna. You might take it out and run it in some, old timey races.
It looked good on the dirt road that he was on, like I said, but that's where he was too. It was like a gravel dirt road. I mean, if you noticed.
Yeah, not exactly really challenging terrain.
But that's, I mean, I don't know. Isn't that I don't know. Isn't that what they're made for? But to get back to the point before with your battery here in Spectrum prioritizing stuff. I mean, I knew with the smart chargers when I think we were on a nonprofit show when I even brought it up, and we first started talking about the smart chargers, and I said, well, if you do this, you guys are excluding people. You're going to start excluding. You're going to start prioritizing your stuff, and I think even then they already knew the answer. Yeah, we're going to do that.
Yeah, I mean the goal was always, and I'd say that Horizon even goes all the way back to the Capra. When they designed the Capra, Mom, my hair is blue. Yes, I'm testing out some new lighting tonight. I'm actually throughout the show. I'm going to now I'm green.
Oh, he's got mood lighting.
I'm going to change the color of the light.
What mood are you in?
And then red. And then back to blue. So yeah, I just periodically change. So yeah.
Apparently, some people didn't like your mood lighting because they left.
Well, you know what? Tough.
Because they weren't in the mood.
They weren't in the mood. Yeah, like I said, going all the way back to the Capra. The Capra had a pretty specific couple of battery packs in mind when they designed it, because there was only a couple of them that fit. Because I know, like, I went and bought a Gens Ace Shorty Pack 3500 milliamp 3S, and I had to bend it. I had to bend the frame a little bit to get that in.
Right.
But with the ProTech from A-Main, their 3500 milliamp battery slid right in. It was perfect. Even the length of the cord, the cable, and everything fit exactly perfect. And that also matched the size of at the time the Spectrum battery. So they were interchangeable, those two batteries.
RC Cape Cod and NorCal in the house.
Hey, Cape Cod, NorCal, what is cracking?
Basher Boy asked what your opinion of the Losi bike is. He ordered one. He wanted it.
Yeah, I got one. My opinion on it is that it's going to be fun. I think this is we've been talking about innovation in RC, and I think Losi threw it out there. Now, Losi threw down some innovation, not just in the form of a dirt bike, but also the fact that there's a separate motor running the gyro. There's also in the speed control and the receiver, the functionality of the gyro and the software that helps keep the bike stabilized within the electronics. Um, I, yeah, I, I think I waited all of about 5 or 6 hours before when I first saw it before I actually went on to directly to Losi and bought it.
Have you seen the street bike version?
So there is Proline is making the street tires.
Oh, and RC Recreation's in the house.
Hey, Recreation, what's
Sorry
happening?
about that.
Yeah, they so the one thing I was going to point out, and I'm actually going to share my screen.
Well, be careful now.
Window and boop.
So I think it's a cool bike.
So here's something that nobody's talking about. Number one,
Okay.
ProMoto is the platform. So that means there's probably likely other models going to come out on this platform. Also, when you look at all three of them,
do you think they'll come out with a high lift kit for it?
I don't think so. I think they're going to avoid. But what I do see is a large, a standard, and a mini version that are grayed out in the tabs up here. So I do believe that we are going to see a smaller version of this.
And
I'm not sure about a bigger one because I don't know how much bigger you would really, if you went from quarter to half scale, that's going to be an RC car with the rider. If it's double the size of this one, it would basically, the top of the rider's head would be about 3 feet off the ground. And at, 30 or 40 miles an hour, that is a big chunk of RC running around. So you're going to have to...
It's like dodging an X-Max at this point.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that the gyro in there, that spinning flywheel in this version is a pound. So if they double it, that's going to be 2 pounds of spinning flywheel at 22,000 RPM. That could get really, really tricky.
I posted a picture of the Losi street bike in my community post. They have aluminum hop-ups for it, aluminum swing, etc. I think it's a cool bike. I think it's overpriced.
Losi street bikes. Wait a
minute.
I
mean, I guess I just $549. I just feel like, wow. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm a cheapskate.
I had a big problem with the price point at first. I think I talked to you, Justin, about it, saying that had they come in with this thing at $399,
oh hell yeah,
they would have sold out on day one. Pre-orders would have been sold out.
But you got to understand, at $399 for them, the innovation on this and everything that they did for this, they wouldn't have made a difference. You know what I'm saying?
And the way I've heard people talking about their conversations with the engineers at Losi is that they've been working on this for like 6 years.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of engineering and R&D that's gone into it. I know in the extended video they talked about this is actually, the front forks is actually the third iteration of those front forks. So they went through prototype version 1 or version 2, and now we're on version 3.
Well, how many of you, since I love to talk shit, and I love to talk, how many of you were in Frank's show last week where they were talking about the Losi bike? Because I heard Frank the Tank and his fellow watchers talk about it, and they were like, oh man, that thing, if you run it into a wall, it's going to break apart. Was the part that of course you run it into a wall, it might break apart, for Christ's sake. But actually, from the videos that I've seen and everything of this thing, it actually looks pretty goddamn tough, man. I mean, I've seen people break it and still drive the damn thing.
Yeah, RC Driver was, he handed this thing to a bunch of different people, let them run it around in a bash park, and they were jumping it and landed upside down. They ended up breaking it, and he said they didn't even notice that it was broken until he actually got home, was when he figured out. But I know the entire head assembly, so the front fork assembly and everything is all mounted to a single metal post that is inside of a metal sleeve that is sealed, and it has 500,000 weight oil in it. And you can actually see where the front forks will actually move
Right.
forward and back. And that was the intention, was you smack this thing into a curb head on at full speed, it's not just going to snap everything.
It should have some give to it. I mean, I understand that, yeah, people are going to, you run it into anything hard enough. Sure, man. Come on. Speaking of that, did you see Raz Shiffin's 80-mile-an-hour crash into the wall, where he made a brick wall and ran that crane into the brick wall?
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it over and over. I'm sorry, there's something about it.
He just did a video, I think it was either yesterday or today, talking about speedrun stuff. And he actually had several bits and pieces throughout there of his speedrun cars crashing.
Nice.
And, heartbreaking. Heartbreaking, because you can hear
hundreds of dollars.
You can hear it in his voice. Like, not only is does the car just fly off into space, you see the batteries. One shot, he's got the batteries have flown out, and it busted the batteries, and they're just sitting there burning.
Fantastic.
On the road there. And
$300 worth of batteries on fire. Nobody's biting on the street bike. Okay. I don't know, man. I liked, is there an actual street bike version, or is it just the street tires? Did they make
just the street tires? Proline does have a set of Supermoto tires for it.
Is that what you talked about, NorCal? And then, if that's the case, I saw where they were driving it on the cement track, and I actually showed it to my wife, and she goes, "Oh, that actually looks almost real."
I can imagine
it. I would attest to the fact that, yeah, it looks pretty cool out on an actual track. So
I can imagine that they will very easily be able to scale this down to 10th scale. And I would envision that now that they've got all of the mechanics of the gyro and the flywheel figured out, that it's just a matter of being able to make everything scaled down. So getting the motor to drive the bike, and then the motor to drive the flywheel small enough to fit into a 10th scale version. But now wait, what community post are you talking about?
Are you talking about in YouTube? Because I'll try to go look here in a second. That's what I was doing. I was pulling up a new window so I don't get confused here.
Yeah, I got to see this, because I have not seen a...
Is this something that somebody made, or is this something that's coming from Losi? Oh, by the way, I saw your RC for beginners, not what not to do. You guys are so
wait a
fun
minute.
sometimes.
Speed 400
community. Oh, okay. Scrambler. Ooh.
I have not seen
Where
that.
Where did you catch this at? Yeah.
Because that's actually what I was thinking is, once they scale this down to 10th scale, sky's the limit. They'll be able to make any bike they want. Harleys, Hondas, they're going to be able to make MotoGP bikes.
It's not that I'm knocking it. If I could afford it, I'd still buy it. I'd still buy something else. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, for me, like, I know Rich was a motocross guy, so it's big for him. But for me, it's like,
I totally don't have the money for it.
$500 right now.
I totally
a couple other things I do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I literally put it on a credit card.
If I had $500, I'd probably stick it into this 6x6 project I've been working on forever.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely could have put this money in the trip to Disney World with the family fund. Sorry, baby. We won't be going to Disney World this winter because Daddy had to get a new dirt bike. I definitely gotta dig into this, because that.
Oh, I wish I could. Oh, like NorCal knows something. Oh, hey, NorCal's got an inside.
Yeah, because those look pretty freaking cool. I mean, cool,
but there's no rider.
That's a triumph.
Where am I going to get a rider for that? I mean, if like I said, that's the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, but for scale video at the moment, I'm still like, oh, I like them. They look great.
Well, I'm wondering now if that's quarter.
If you drive them around Ghost Rider,
if those are quarter scale, I'm wondering if you can take the Losi Rider from the dirt.
Oh, hey, that would be perfect.
Put him
then you
on.
can just buy a Losi Rider, right?
Yeah, those look really freaking slick.
Oh yeah, no, I love. Yeah,
all right, NorCal.
We'll be watching, so we can talk trash on you later, you insider.
That's
All American, All C, All Star. This is my favorite.
Wait a minute. Anyone seen the news trailer of Losi with the motocross series?
It's a mega.
They put a comment in there, probably not because they didn't. I think NorCal might be trolling right now.
Yes, he is. He's definitely trolling me. Oh my God, he got us. I got some shit that needs to be said.
1,000 points to NorCal for picture perfect trolling right there. Man. It would be fun.
Hey, go back to setting your garage on fire in NorCal.
No. Yeah, which nice trip down memory lane, NorCal, with some old classic footage of
it would be cool. A street bike version would definitely be cool. I did like that. That is neat. I do agree. But yeah,
I honestly think it's coming. I think Losi is onto something here, because I know there's 2 places that I saw they're already planning on having a race series on their 8 scale track with bikes. So they're going to have their own mini.
That would be cool, right? Racing.
I envision that's where this is going to end up going. Is there's going to be a lot of people wanting to race.
He's at work and he can't set fire to anything while he's at work, so he had to wait. That's why we got the deep fake.
Man, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed though, because I do think that because Losi did manage to get a little bit of licensing on the green bike they got Pro Circuit.
Okay.
And that was also with Mitch Payton, and Mitch Payton runs the Kawasaki Supercross team.
Neat.
That's I think with some licensing, especially with Horizon, they could. Who wouldn't buy a 10th scale Harley Davidson, chopper? Who wouldn't buy one of those? Every man that owns a Harley Davidson.
Well, I think that's
one in his garage.
About was like you imagine USTE next year if they make little Harleys.
Yeah, if you got 10th scale bikes, and you show up at USTE and everybody's driving around their scale truck with a trailer, pulling their 10th scale RC bike, and then they roll their 10th scale RC bike off and go run around on the trails with it.
I think the green just comes with battery and charger.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the RT. That's the RTR setup for the green one. The blue and the red are just the bikes.
Okay.
So the green bike is $599. The red and the blue are $549. Which, I mean, realistically, it's a pretty good deal if you want a green bike. Me personally, I own. It's actually the dirt bike that I have sitting right over there is a Kawasaki.
Cool.
But I didn't want the green bike. I didn't want it. I wanted the red one because my favorite bike is actually the one that's in this that picture right there, which is my black Honda CRF 450 from 2002, and that is what essentially, eventually, what my bike will end up looking like.
Well, like I said, I don't know. I don't know where the rest of his chat went to in the show. For Frank, I don't know where they ended up going with that or anything like that. But I mean, with the part of the conversation that I caught is they seem to think that it would be easy to break, and I'm like, I don't know, man. It doesn't look like it's so easy to break.
And looking at RC Sailors and RC Driver,
new,
what
pussycats?
they've been doing, it seems like it's pretty freaking durable. Not to mention Losi's own videos that they got of them jumping the things. I mean,
that's what I thought.
But RC Driver, they were launching it off of some good 3 foot tall jumps. Yes, I think somebody. So yeah, NorCal, the Harley flat track bike. That is what I always have. It's because it's backwards. That's what that picture is. That's Rich doing a little flat track racing on his Kawasaki. So yes, a Harley FT 750 would be freaking sweet. And since Proline has already made the Supermoto tires, you could essentially drop you drop the suspension, take the front fender off the bike, put the Proline street tires on there, and then if you could manage to groove them up like a flat track tire, you would have basically a 450 or a Pro Singles flat track bike.
See, I like where Recreation is going here, and hi RC Propaganda. Recreation with you upgrade your driver mod. That's if you do wreck it, at least you can be like, no. This is his fault. This is not my fault. His tires are on backwards.
Propaganda. What's happening? Which I had a comment this week on the Losi Baja Ray video where somebody told me that my ride height's too low.
Too low, huh?
I got my ride height set too low, which I replied, well, predominantly I'm running it around on street right now, so I'm not really too worried about ground clearance. So keeping that low center of gravity, because this thing actually has a tendency to traction roll, like really bad. You crank the steering on that thing and it flips over instantly.
What's the price of that new MX bike?
$550 for the bike only version, and then the bike plus charger plus battery is $599.
Jump it into a pool of sharks.
Trust me, barbecue. There is. I have plans. I already started thinking about things. And yes, I did order some of the upgrade parts for it. I got a goofy little patch of grass on the other side of my driveway over there that's kind of on a slope, and it's just kind of a silly spot with grass on it. I am going to mow the grass down basically to nothing, and I'm going to make a little track over there. But I have thought about an old Happy Days shark jump. That could happen.
Jump into a pool of shark. All I can think of is the submersible thing. All I can think of is the rich people down in the ocean. I'm sorry.
Sad. Sad. Really sad. I feel really bad. But
sharks, ocean, submarine saying, I like it. Do you think that was orca straighted?
Oh, that was bad. Minus 50 points for JB. that dad joke gave me gas.
Oh, I had to bust one in there. Jesus.
Yeah, the upgrades that they've already. I did buy a few of them. I couldn't help myself. Evil Knievel jumping Snake Canyon. Yes. See what's coming for me. I got some plans before the winter hits. I got some. Oh, propaganda doing a little.
Why do it? You know,
Little
Danny something? Evil Knievel. Yeah, I mean
Oh,
the bike has a lot of cool, like, I mean, there could be a lot of cool shit that comes from this. Definitely, I see a lot of cool shit coming out of this, and it was nice. It is a nice, refreshing change of pace to the RC world for sure.
yes.
Uh,
The only way they could have made this thing any better was if they offered it in a kit form.
okay, would be cool. I'm still like a Black Friday deal. Like I'm still gonna. I can't justify spending 500. I know they can. I know they can ask for it, but that doesn't mean I can say I want to pay that.
And I think this year Black Friday you're gonna see some sales on it because I know a ton of people are pre-ordering this thing. Um, I know it's very very popular, but I know there's also a lot of people that are like, oh man, that price tag hurts, dude. That's rough. And a lot of people have said, yeah, once it's out for 6 months, they'll have it on sale $100 off. At $450, this thing's going to be a steal. "15-page release they had to sign before giving over 250,000 multiple lines explaining how they could die."
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
Spike ice tires. Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Freaking.
I love ice racing.
I mean, are you kidding me? Everybody in Canada in the winter time with ice racing.
We got tons of lakes right up here on the Mesa, on the Grand Mesa, for Christ's sake, the largest grand fucking mesa in the world. Well, in the United States, I believe. Sorry.
Yeah. If you live in a place you get some frozen lake.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be freaking cool. What would also be cool is a speedway bike. A speedway bike would be pretty awesome.
No, the head does bobble around, dude. I totally agree with you. I was watching some of the slow motion shots and the head and stuff. It's fucking hilarious. I kind of like it. I think it's funny and I enjoy it, but it's probably not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much they could do with the rider. If you make them too rigid, then you're gonna end up just snapping body parts off of them.
I think it would be cooler if the knee came out with the wheel on the end of the knee, kind of like hidden in the knee, rather than the actual wheels on it. So when you tilted it, his knee would tilt out to the ground like a real rider does. That would make it cooler to me. But
I could see if they make a street version of it, that them making it so that his knees kind of stick out awkwardly, but have that purpose. Maybe have a little wheel built into the knee so that. Yeah, the little training wheels do look a little bit odd, but I think in time, once you get used to driving it, I think you'll probably be able to take those things off.
right.
Yeah, I can absolutely see somebody hooking up a servo, chopping up the inside of the body and putting a servo in there so that his head will turn.
There is a bike like that. Are you asking or telling? I see the question mark at the end, like you're surprised. No, there isn't. As far as I know, there isn't. But it would be very cool if there is. That's as a scale person, as a video guy. When I'm watching it in the frames and I'm watching it come around the track, I see the wheel on the side of the bike, and I'm just a little disappointed with that in my picture. It doesn't mean it's a huge deal. I mean, God, how much more could you ask for? We've got a bike coming around a track. That's the first time I've ever seen that. So, but like I said, if you wanted to make it look a little bit more realistic, having the knee like swing out as he comes around the corner with a wheel in it, that's going to look more real in the video as you watch it.
I can tell you that this is the picture that sold me. And it is because you can see that the wheel is turned into the slide.
This is like a real dirt bike. Yep.
So that and the first video that I saw, which was the RC Sailors, when they put it into wheelie mode, and it just instantly pops wheelie and it just rides around with a wheelie. And
Nice.
It's freaking cool.
Isn't there a quarter scale?
On by a
Oh, those surfers are cool, man. I've seen some of those.
Yes, there. I can't remember who it was. Made a video of actually surfing real waves with the surfer.
I saw once, like, I saw somebody throw it out, and like a surfer was surfing, and they threw it out with the surfer while they're surfing right there in like this. It's like a wake. I don't even know how to explain it, but I think both of them like wiped out, but it's pretty good.
Now, barbecue. I mentioned early on in the show that I noticed something. I'm going to represent that again. I noticed something that I know nobody else has said anything about in any of the videos, and it is that there are two grayed out tabs on this, which is a mini and a large. So apparently Losi has plans to make a larger version of this and a smaller version. But the other part that nobody's talking about is right here. The ProMoto is a platform.
Right.
So that means that this is, they have
keep your fingers crossed for that high lift kit.
They have a future planned for this bike. And I would say, judging by the amount of interest I've seen, what's up, Jesse? I could see any number of versions coming out. Street bike versions, like your Ninja, maybe KTM Duke. If Horizon can get licensing, but even if they can't get licensing, they could still make street bikes that look a lot like the real version. Element's doing it with every truck body they make. And technically, even these bikes here, they're not licensed. They're not manufactured. One's just, they have different color plastics. So you can basically make any bike that you want. But yeah, street bikes, I see that motorcycles in general, I see it being limitless.
I feel like there were other RC bikes before.
There have been. There have been RC bikes around for decades. There is even a version of this almost identical bike that was made by Venom, the battery company. But they didn't have the technology that this one has. This one, the big advantage that it has is that flywheel that's in it, and the location of the flywheel being.
I think NorCal said it was a six-axis gyro. 6-axis gyro. I gotta say. Yep. Earl Moorhead in the house. The world wants something new and cool. This might just be, well, what's the weak point? Well, everything has a weak point, but seriously, I've seen some of the videos, like we said.
I think the weak point is definitely going to be the head assembly. You definitely, I know RC Driver, he broke his, and it's basically just a plastic plate that's in there. And he even said, in no time at all, somebody's going to make an aluminum plate to put in there, so that won't happen anymore. But I would say that head assembly, because they did it by making it swing in and out to be able to take some impact. But I imagine somebody's going to grab a hold of this thing. They're going to run it head first into a curb at full speed, and that it's going to snap it.
Well, sure.
I can also
talked about that. If you run anything off into a wall, you know.
I can see that being its biggest weak point, and the second weak point being the bottom underneath the motor and the flywheel. If you case real bad and you land on the bottom of that, how much impact is all of that gyro, flywheel, and all of that? How much is that going to be able to handle? Because the gyro is a pretty big deal that stays stable and stationary inside there.
What the fuck, rip off?
If they can't survive crashing.
I'll give you 10 points. I'll give you 10 points for that comment. 10 points to RC propaganda for what junk?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of innovation here.
No, I think it is. I think it's super.
I think they did their homework.
My RC surfer has broke his neck, his arm, leg. I had to repair with epoxy. Thank God for you, barbecue.
No, Cal. I have a feeling. I can say that I am impressed with Losi's quality. That Baja Ray is tough.
I feel like in general, as long as you're not super crazy with it, you're probably not going to break it.
I think the average person is probably going to do probably want to do some kind of racing with it.
That would be
together with their buddies.
To go to a track.
So 5 or 6 of them are going to get together. They're either going to have a track in their backyard, or they're going to have a local RC track, and they're just going to go out there and have a bunch of fun with it.
It's called the Super 1/4 Rider.
Huh.
Well, what the hell do I know?
The next thing that somebody needs to do is they need to make a motorcycle sound kit. Not exactly sure where you would. You could stick it inside the rider's body, but a motorcycle sound kit would be pretty nifty.
Oh, I see that. That's back in 2016 that they were reviewing those. Huh.
That's what I'm talking about, barbecue. And it would be really cool if they make a sound kit that you could jump back forth between 2-stroke and 4-stroke.
Well, the real reason you never heard of that is who is Sky RC? Who's Sky RC? What company is that? Or Zhang Tat? And these are Amazon.
Sky RC, I think, to date, is the ones who have made the best RC motorcycles. And I think they're relatively big. I think they're like 5th scale.
That's what he's talking about. I mean, and it's nice looking at everything, but the real reason you probably haven't heard it in mass is because it's not Horizon or Traxxas or, dear Lord, if it's not made by Ford or GM.
Yeah, well, and
they make the best GPS units according to Recreation.
That is why I recognize the name.
I like to get lost.
They are the guys that make all of the speedrun GPSs.
Okay. Man, these guys are, this is what they want to talk. We've been talking about this for.
No.
What for?
And they actually do still sell their super.
Oh yeah, I just looked it up.
It's wow, look at that. He's like doing a full-blown.
I believe that there are people in Australia who call me Mr. Google.
Yeah, look at that. He's doing a front flip.
Look, I wouldn't believe everything.
And he broke the rear fender on it. In their promo video, they show him breaking the rear fender.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, RC motorcycles have been around for a while. It just, I don't think anybody has put the time and energy to really make them look realistic.
Woohoo! I know
really-
another reason this really never caught on. Seriously, $824 for this thing?
Yeah. So it's a little pricey.
That's in Canada. Are you serious? Is this how much one of these costs? They want $655. So that would be another reason. Price point.
So it's even more expensive than the Losi.
It's bigger though, right? It's a quarter scale.
No, Losi's is a quarter scale as well.
Huh. Let's race them and find out. Let's do a comparison video. Who's got that? Earl, you buy 2 of everything, right?
Which I was just watching Earl's latest video today. He ran into one of his subscribers at his little bash spot, and I actually recognize Earl's bash spot, which is interesting. I watched several videos when he's been there, and it looked really, really familiar, but I caught a glimpse. I paid more attention. I caught a glimpse as he was walking back to his car, where I totally recognize where Earl's at. Actually, my mom used to live in that area of Southern California.
No, you're a stalker.
Look up
apparently there's more than one man crush going on around here. And I think I did because I think that was the first price that I mentioned was the $800 because I think I was actually looking at Canadian price.
And RC Kicks actually did a video of about it in the UK, and it's like 800 and something euros in the UK.
Yeah.
And somebody did mention in the comments that there was a mistake in the website, that they needed to fix the pricing so that it would be closer to, because like when he calculated it out in euros, like close to a grand in US dollars. So
what is with you guys redacting your fucking comments today? Fuck you guys. All right. Fuck you guys and you're redacting. I hate that. No, I know. Whatever. You take it back. Fine. The average person crashes on the first pack. I would agree with that, Earl. I just wanted to say
that. Yeah, Earl's bash spot's he's been found by one of his subscribers who is out there bashing with him. I also was I don't know if anybody knows who Raha is. He's a freestyle motocrosser, and he happened to be in Ventura this last week, where we moved from, and did a little charity deal there for a local school in Ventura, and then after that they went out and were riding their little electric pit bikes at the BMX track that I used to film my Typhon at a bunch of times before they kicked out RCs. That was kind of cool. Yeah.
It's so weird. Like I said, I'm looking. Oh, it's so weird.
See, I don't see YouTube's chat, because if I have YouTube on, it would be over on this screen, and then I couldn't have.
See, in StreamYard, I'm looking at you, but over here in YouTube, I'm not looking at you at all. I'm looking off like, hey, I don't give a fuck what you say, Rich.
Yeah, see, StreamYard, I can see the chat over on this side of the screen.
Try this one more time.
But it's also, StreamYard's also delayed from YouTube.
It's going to be so confusing to me.
You just see your eyes go, pew, 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 pew.
That's why people call me a crackhead. I swear. I can't sit still on the show. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Barbecue, I haven't seen much from Ronnie Mack lately.
I'm still not.
I know.
It doesn't really
I know
matter.
he recently did. He did another long jump. I think he went over 300 feet now, which is it's insane. Ronnie Mack is the craziest person alive on a motorcycle. Craziest person alive. When he jumped up on top of the Arch de Triomphe in Las Vegas, that was pretty sick. Jumped up on it and then jumped down off of it. It's insanity. What else do I have in the notes? Man,
I was just trying to think if I had any. I was going to give more smack talk. I suppose I should thank you for letting me be here, first of all, and then announce the sponsors we don't have.
Yes. Thank you to all of our non-existent sponsors. Thank you.
If you guys have compliments, complaints, anything you'd like to say about the show, please email our non-existent email.
Yes, complaints at the shit that needs to be show we don't care.com.
Yeah, we don't care.
Hey, how about the Elon Musk Mark Zuckerberg cage fight that's coming up?
Is that really happening? Is this really a thing? This isn't fake AI. NorCal didn't set us up for this shit, did he?
No. I believe that this is a thing, and I don't know why. I don't know why either one of them would want to do this. Trials bike to run with a cat.
Whoops. Did I ever tell you about the time I accidentally ran over my roommate's dog?
Has this got a happy ending?
Oh yeah, the dog was fine. I should mention the dog was completely fine. It was only an axial Yeti. And I had looked away for a brief moment because my roommate stepped out the back door into the backyard. I mailed my complaint. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Leave it down in the comments because I don't read that shit. But I looked away for just a second, but I was on the throttle and the dog walked. He was chasing it around. He really enjoyed chasing it around the whole time. But when I looked away and ran him over, that was it. It was instant like, no, I hate that thing. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Elon can cheat, hook up, Neuralink.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That to me seems neither one of those guys needs any publicity. Everybody hates Mark Zuckerberg, no matter what he does, and from what I can tell, at least half the people of the world hate Elon Musk.
I hope there's blood.
I think they're gonna. I think Elon is gonna make it through like the first 30 seconds before he's gonna need to have a seat because he's kind of like me. He got a little extra fat on the frame, and Zuckerberg, I think. If Elon farts, he's going to blow him out of the ring because Zuckerberg, maybe that guy weighs like $125, soaking wet. So it doesn't seem like, and I know both of them train and, oh yeah. I used to do that whole boxing workout thing
where it's a publicity stuff where they get in the ring and they tap each other a few times. Oh, I succeed to you, man. No. I want to fight.
I'm with propaganda. I don't think that fight's going to happen. I think both of those guys are worth way too much money to be getting into fights. Hey, if you're Jake Paul, that's fine. You're a useless turd anyhow. So if you get in the ring, you get your face bashed in. Nobody's really going to care. But I mean, Elon Musk, dude, you got a lot of people work for you. Same with Zuckerberg. You got a lot of people work for you. You're responsible for a lot of people. So if you accidentally, kick Elon in the ankle and he accidentally slips and falls on your head and you go into a freaking coma, then that's pretty jacked up.
Shareholders wouldn't allow it. I hate rules and authority. Right there.
Yeah,
Let them have at each other. Fuck it.
I don't get the whole need.
Elon mom say he's not allowed 10 points. It's RC recreation. That's what she said. Where's Tony?
Tony was in at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of trash to talk this week. I didn't watch a lot of live shows. I only caught one brief part of a live show.
I am again surprised at the lack of coverage from an RC event. I'm starting to think that none of the YouTubers that go to these events are really doing much to do much videoing to cover. I saw RC Every Day made a brief video. It didn't appear that he showed everything. It was a relatively short video. But yeah, other than that, and I know that in his video you can see several, fairly recognizable YouTubers are in there.
Okay.
I'm surprised that there isn't more video of events. I said the same thing after USTE this year. There didn't seem to be a lot of video coverage of USTE. It's almost like people are either tired of carrying their cameras around and filming while they're there, or there doesn't seem to be much interest from the people at large to watch videos of events.
Well, just what I mean, no offense.
Probably a combination of the both for me. Yeah. You've seen one event, you've seen them all. You're going to see the same tents of the same people, same companies, all set up. If there's an event, you can be sure that Sharif is going to be there. Reef's RC is going to have a big giant tent. That he's going to show up.
He's getting a new building. Did you see that?
Yeah.
They made an announcement that they're going to move to a bigger building.
Yep. Which, hey, good for Reefs. That RC business is doing pretty good for you, and obviously the bread business is good.
I don't want to say much here because that guy does have billions of dollars. If he did want to sue me, he could.
Yeah, Reef is no joke. Reef's got.
By the way, if you want to send us money, we have a non-existent PayPal as well.
Yeah, I can. I'd be more than happy to set up a GoFundMe page, so that you just send money to the GoFundMe page for no reason whatsoever, just because we want more money. YouTube doesn't pay that much.
No, I don't know how many. Yeah, I don't know how many people know this, but I mean that's the thing. Is Reef was he's a bread guy. He has a huge bread company.
Yes, yeah, that is where Reef made his money.
And I'm talking about actual dough and not money dough.
Yep.
Where is Tank? Tank won't come back anymore. He's upset with me.
Is he?
I don't know. I'm making the assumption. I'm talking shit right now. Every time he comes in, I need to give him this. I gotta hand him one of these. Hey, Tank.
Frank pops in, kind of like there's a bunch of people that seem to show up like 5 minutes before the show's over. Sean, Frank, and Frank generally shows up for like 5 minutes, then he's got to go eat dinner.
I'll get Tank back. Look at that, Tony Cece in the house. Oh, bejeebus!
Oh, how about that? The Mr. Tony Cece. Welcome to the show, Tony. It's good to see you. Hopefully, speaking of Axial Fest Batman,
Tony might actually, man.
Hopefully, everybody had fun. It looks like there was actually some decent weather during the event, considering that all hell was breaking loose everywhere else. When's the Reefs shit that needs to be said? You know what? I've been asking myself that question, Barbecue. We need a shit that needs to be said show servo. Color, make it brown anodized.
Oh my God. The weather was great until the next day, said Tony.
Yeah. I think they did get a little bit of rain. But I know, I know there was rain coming down all over. There was, I think, part of Indiana, even had a freaking tornado Thursday or Friday last week. So the RC gods smiled on the Badlands event, and
tornadoes on Sunday.
Yeah.
You're number one. Thanks, Earl. I appreciate you, brother. Takes one to know one. That's
hey, 100 points to Earl.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
Walking up to one of the hosts.
I'll give him that. I love a good rouse. All right, what else is on your list? What else can we talk shit about?
So I got to say it. Talking about some of the recent things in the news, it seems that the number one problem that we have in America, which is the white nationalists, some of them ran into a group of, I forget what the Patriot something or other at an event, and the neo-Nazis got the crap kicked out of them. Oh, and a bunch of them got their masks yanked off of them. And according to a couple of different places who have hunted down some of the photographs of these guys, one of the guys is apparently that was a neo-Nazi or a Nazi. Apparently one of the guys is Jewish, which is quite strange for a modern day Nazi to be Jewish.
Okay.
That's essentially what I'm getting at is don't fall for any of this crap with the guys in the khaki pants wearing blue shirts with the gator masks pulled up over their face, that those are actual Nazis. Because actual Nazis and actual KKK and actual white supremacists that you see never ever cover their faces. Hell, half of them have like swastikas tattooed on their forehead. They want you to know who they are. They don't hide their identities. They most certainly don't hide behind masks. And they most certainly do not run away from fights. I have in my lifetime experienced and known several people who associate with those groups, and they love them some brawling.
Jesus, love them sandwiches. The audience is why I come. You guys are why I come to the show.
Yeah, the mask off. You want to see? Yeah, yeah. So yeah, a bunch of crap. Not to mention the fact that the senile old fart in the White House the other 2 days ago when he was sitting at a press conference with Prime Minister Modi from Israel, I believe. That he announced that he has sold plenty of state secrets. This matter-of-factly stated that. And he also stated today that Vladimir Putin is losing the war in Iraq. Nobody seems to know that Russia was at war with Iraq, but evidently Iraq is beating Russia in the war that they're having. Partly, Russia seems to be having a couple wars going at the same time.
Yeah, hell of a time in the Ukraine right now, too.
So yeah, like I said, the senile old fart in the White House.
If I didn't get it, I don't know. I didn't know if Tony talked about it. I didn't get Tony's thoughts on the bike. I think he's got one. He probably got one, right?
I don't think he got one. I think he saw the one that was getting shown off.
I thought Tony was, Tony's big time, right?
I don't know that Losi sent too many of these bikes out, because it appears to me that the RC Sailors got one and RC Driver got one, but they're the only ones that have technically made videos with them in their hand.
Okay.
And somebody at AxioFest, I'm assuming Horizon,
They
was
sent out
showing
two.
them
All right. Well, there you go. There's my answer.
because I know I did see several pictures of people holding it at Badlands. They sent out two.
Yeah, we talked about that thing for the first 50 minutes of the show. I didn't even think we were going to garner that much attention from a dirt bike, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, your co-host
I
does
know
have.
you're an influencer, Tony. I mean, obviously pissing people off by running over RC cars with a monster truck. But yeah, what did you think of the bike? If you get it, I just want to know what you think of the Losi. They're going to run one at Monster Jam. Can't wait to see it. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you must kind of like it then.
That's cool. Yeah, Tony, the evil RC car destroyer. How dare you? Yes, Tony. Also, huge fan of Supercross. Even though this year's Supercross pissed me off because Eli Tomac and his stupid Achilles tendon.
You can run and jump. I like it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I got mine on pre-order. I even pre-ordered some aftermarket parts for it. So, yeah, Cooper Webb, man, that hit. He got tagged in the head. He went down, and Adam Cicerillo came around the corner and just right in the back of his head, his helmet with the front tire. Nasty looking. And he still managed to get up, which I know of. Now they're going infinitely faster, but there was a MotoGP rider that was killed in a similar. Nicky Hayden actually hit him in the head.
I'm a huge fan of anything that doesn't have Max in it. I'm going to throw 200 points to recreation for that.
He's back running motocross with Jet. Jet is absolutely crushing everyone. Jet is the next superstar. He is the next Ricky Carmichael, I think. He may actually surpass Ricky Carmichael, become the new GOAT. Which I know is a bold statement, but Jet Lawrence and his brother they're both super good, ridiculously good. Some of the techniques that they use are absolutely retarded. Like nobody's ever done it. It's kind of like James Stewart and the scrubbing. Nobody's doing it. Like Hunter Lawrence, there's a really good thing that Johnny Hopper showed that Hunter Lawrence was doing, going into a turn that had a bunch of bumps, and he actually wheelied going into the turn so that he could time the front tire coming down perfectly to land in the rut to make the turn, but the rear suspension was soaking up the bumps. It was
I got a green bike. I wanted a blue bike. Bob Hanna.
Oh, Cape Cod, throwing out some old names right there. Bob Hurricane Hanna. I ended up getting the red one, Tony. Only because eventually it'll be all black. But that bike that's in that picture is all black. But it originally started out as a red, a Honda.
Well, since we're going to go back to this, he said you can take the side guards off. Word on the street is you can take the side guards off. Are you talking about the wheels on the side?
The training wheels? Yeah.
Because we talked about that, and one of the things that I noticed when I was watching it in video is, like I said, if you watch it in video, I think it'd be cool if the knee leaned out and had the little wheel in the end of the knee. That would look more realistic, especially like on the racetrack for sure. Maybe on dirt, I guess, but.
Roosted by Carmichael. I saw uh, Kevin Windham at a local dirt bike track in
Some bikes.
Piru, California. And this was several years after he retired. And he was out there riding with some of the best local talent we had. And that guy literally, the rest of them looked like they were riding around in second gear. He was so much faster than everybody else. It was scary.
Yeah, the gyro should keep you upright. However, it does help you from crashing out because you can lean over into a corner too much and hit the foot peg or something, or hit the foot of your rider and wipe out.
And I think also if the bike is laying completely flat on its side, the gyro can't pick it all the way up.
Yeah.
So if you manage to get it all the way flat on its side, that's what the arms do, is they make it so that it'll only go far enough to where once you hit the gas, it'll stand itself back up.
I've seen leaning the riders, but that's a steering thing. Oh, a street thing? Leaning rider. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the really brilliant part about the flywheel is a dirt bike has a natural gyro happening in the motor, which is why you typically don't see motors in motorcycles in line. And that is because sideways, the crank spinning around the engine actually creates a semi-gyro effect on a real one-to-one bike, which helps.
Yeah, Kyosho has the lean rider. We did talk about other RC bikes. There have been other RC bikes. Obviously, this is the first one. And Sky RC apparently makes some of the best that there are at the moment. But the reason that you're hearing about Losi right now is because Losi, it's so popular. It's much more popular than anything else has been.
Also because of what the gyro is the biggest thing, because of the location of the gyro and the fact that they gave the gyro and the flywheel its own motor.
Yep.
So that flywheel can spin all the time regardless of whether or not the motor is spinning or not, which means at really low speeds, the bike isn't going to be going like this all the time, which was pretty typical when you see older RC bikes. That's typically what you see is when they go slow, you start seeing this thing sort of wobbling back and forth because the gyro is starting to slow down, and it's working off of basically the kinetic energy of the rear tire keeps that gyro spinning. So the fact that they took it out of the rear tire and put it in where the motor would be.
I'm going to give 20 points to Cape Cod here for dating himself with that comment. I have two old COX.
Cox Kyocho. Yeah. Cape Cod, Cox.
Do that.
Now. Get my dirt bike rider to kick a foot out around that.
It would be cool, especially like if you're into film, if you like filming shit, and you really want it to look realistic. Tony said that apparently there were. I didn't even know that there were RCs that did do that. So that's cool. I mean, he would. Tony has had way more experience in that field. I
believe that there are some.
I've been around for like a microsecond, so.
I think there are some older road bikes that had things that moved on the bike, but I think as far as RC dirt bikes, this is. I don't think they've had any movable riders. Because I mean, it's very, very tricky. Moving weight around on an RC motorcycle is going to be tricky because it's going to throw the bike off all the time. To be able to coordinate it while you're turning to get the body to lean over to let the leg stick out or something like that, you definitely have to have some.
The rider didn't move.
Yeah, you'd have to have some software in there that could sort of tie all of that together.
I swear one had wheels in the knees that stuck. Oh, okay. They just stuck out too far. All right. That's cool. Hey, thanks for, you don't have to, Tony, whatever, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Because I don't know.
I
think
definitely,
FPV helmet would be cool. An FPV helmet would be cool. Are we talking out back?
I would say JD Passel.
Oh, hey.
The way he's got the setup with the little FPV cameras that he's been plugging into cars for a while, he could probably set up a pretty awesome
God,
FPV.
how much do you suppose he spent on that shit? Like, what does that stuff cost? Because I remember when he first got into it, and then he had to buy like long range stuff. I was like, geez.
Yeah. Well, the last one that he built, where he had the camera on the head and the head turned, as the steering wheel turned, the head turned with it. And
I was watching somebody who did that with a Summit though. There was somebody who turned a Summit into a Tonka truck and had a guy in it and everything like that basically did the same thing. And I mean, he'd been doing it for years. I can't think of his channel's name, but
that is way beyond my capability. I know how to plug it into the receiver.
At this point, I don't even have enough patience to film anymore. I just want to go out and crawl. I don't even like.
Yeah, all of the electronics, electronics and electricity. I was actually just talking to one of my coworkers today that it's basically don't touch the red and black together, and if there's enough power of voltage and amperage in it that it can kill me, I'm not going to have anything to do with it.
I have a hard time charging batteries. Yeah. If you're like me, you have a hard time paying the bills, let alone paying attention. So,
yeah, I do. I was mentioning this earlier, but I've got the battery for the bike.
now,
And
I wanted to ask you, you didn't buy that for the C rating on it, did you?
no. I bought it simply because I figured that
you didn't pay
Losi
extra for
designed the bike for this specific battery to fit in it. And chances are there's probably only a couple other batteries that will fit in it. So I figured, I got it. What I didn't know was that the Smart G2 batteries, you have to use a smart charger.
Completely prioritized.
So I had to spend another $50 on a freaking charger that I don't need. I have a really good ProTech freaking Prodigy.
Oh, you need this charger.
But now I can just start buying smart batteries for everything.
Spectrum Losi Horizon demands you have it.
Yeah, every Horizon product now, you will be required to have smart batteries in it.
I wonder when are we gonna go to like Spectrum Fest? I don't know.
That's a good point. It's actually a good segue into a point I wanted to make about Badlands. Now,
there's a squirrel.
Squirrel. I have never been to Badlands myself. I've heard about it. In the dirt bike riding community and off-road community, it is a place that is recognizable. It's a place that people talk about as far as going off-roading in the Midwest. But it's not really a no, Tony, I do not have a G2 charger. I had to buy one. So Horizon got me for a little bit more. Hey, JM, good to see you, man. I personally think that Horizon, Axial specifically, they need an East Coast, an Eastern version of Axial Fest. Badlands is great, if you want to go mudding and do some rock bouncing, but it's not really a rock crawling area. I can also name probably 5 places within 200 miles that are infinitely better than Badlands for hosting an RC event. Also because, people that are on the East Coast portion of the East and the South still have to, make like a 14-hour, 10-hour, 8-hour trek to get to Badlands for it to be a mediocre location for an event. Now, when you compare Badlands to, say, Donner Ski Ranch or what was the other place that they used to have Axial Fest in California? The Grove.
Axial Losi Fest Badlands. Hell yeah! Was it like I said? I got judged because I was telling Rich about this. I got judged because I took my Creighton to Badlands. Like I remember people like being like, people were upset that I had it on the table in the first place, and then I let some of the guys run it off the side on the field, and then people were really upset. And I was like, look, man, it's an RC event. How could you expect people not to bring RC cars?
Yeah. Well, because it's Axial Fest. It's supposed to be the Axial fan event. And number one, it's the Axial is owned by Horizon. So you have Pro Line by the Fire, which is an anything. You bring it, we run it. We got anything here, which is a great idea. It's also at Horseman's Grove or Horseman Center, which is a fantastic place. Donner Ski Ranch, fantastic crawling place, legendary rock crawling place in Northern California, but kind of a crappy location for everything else. Camping sucked, parking sucked, everything was kind of terrible.
Oh yeah, Horizon Fest is also bring everything except for you might not want to bring. Well, can you bring an X-Max? Can you bring to Horizon Fest?
I believe you can.
Horizon Fest contest or something like that. I suppose you can.
The only thing you don't want to bring to Horizon Fest is Jeremy Griffith, because he's an insurance hazard.
Just don't stand next to him. Dude. Every time, dude. Every time. I stood next to him for 5 minutes at that mud hole, and he got hit in the fucking ankles. The guy's like an RC car magnet.
But yeah, I mean, Badlands is just not the best location. There are better places. There are definitely better places if you go farther east. If you go into Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, if you had something that was centrally located, Virginia, North Carolina, someplace like that, there's a ton of places where there's good crawling, where you can actually have trailing and some crawling. So people that bring their Capras aren't going to be driving around their Capras on, just muddy trails, and there's a little bit of an incline there to go up, but you're not really getting much use out of your Capra per se. But also that way you have a West Coast, you have a Midwest, and you have an East Coast event. Everybody gets covered. The people that don't want to drive 14 hours to Badlands, the people who don't want to spend $900 on a plane ticket to fly to California, and then stay in a hotel and then drive 40 minutes to the event every day if you don't want to camp in a dirt lot, which was what Donner was. I believe the new place has better camping, but I definitely don't think the crawling is as good as.
Well, this goes back to 2 points. Even Tony's making a point here with Badlands has it. Of course, it's an off-road park, for Christ's sake, so there is off-roading there. Let's not argue that point. However, they just don't accentuate it with the trails, and that was one of the things that me and Rich talked about the other night. Was most of it seems like a mud truck run to me, to be quite frank with you. I mean, it's cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but most of it seems like mud truck stuff. There are really hard uphill climbs. I'm sure there are, but like you said, you don't experience it on those trails. And there might be a reason behind that. Us old guys getting around. The quarry.
Part of it is accessibility.
I know that there's a rock wall there, and there are some places to climb. You got to go off trail for it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and I know like they had the rock bouncing thing, which looked like it was a reasonably good hill climb there. But, I'm talking about, scale Moab quality crawling.
Well, and like I keep telling you, I'm only an hour away. I'm only like an hour away from Moab. So
Yeah, because
I
I
mean,
mean,
I
like,
still don't know why there is not a huge RC event in Moab. I really don't.
yeah, that's kind of a mystery to me as well. But I can see where, look, you don't, it's kind of like you have a bunch of different trails, and some of the, you can rate them just like you do ski runs. You can have trails that say, yeah, if you don't get along as good, this probably isn't the trail for you to go on. Now, if you get along okay and you want to do some serious rock crawling,
Oh,
this is the trail for you.
like the diamond, like on the slopes.
Yeah, you got a double diamond,
Double diamond.
you got the little blue square. That's the
I
trail
only
where you
brought
take the little
I
kids
only brought
on.
my 2.2s, you guys. I don't know. They're on that
Double bears to climb in cow poo at USDE. Yeah, I mean USDE is its own little microcosm of an event where it's all about the scale there, and all of the trails and everything there is set up for being able to take some really bitchin' pictures of your RC cars. Oh man, I forgot.
They
I'm
went too
supposed to
far with
be
the blind area. Oh, I want to know more
supposed to
about
be
that.
changing my colors here.
Sorry. World out.
Squirrel. I'm the
Tony says they went too far with.
Now that, I mean,
What else?
many USD gates were harder than Axial Fest, which is kind of sad. I would like to see.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like I live near some of the best rock crawling there is. If there is a southern or a northern Utah group in RC that has rock competitions, and I've watched some of their videos. There's some guys right over in Moab that I know, and I watch their video. And I tell you what, you want to watch rock crawling? I mean, that's some cool shit.
No, and I also
If you like mud trucking, though, I mean,
I take into consideration where it's difficult to have an event that has everything. Although Proline by the Fire seems to accomplish that every year, where they have some relatively difficult runs, some good rock crawling. They do. I don't know if they did it last year or not, but they do break the hose out and create a little mud pit and whatnot.
Maybe that was it. Maybe I just didn't have enough experience walking around Badlands.
And
I only got to the first mud hole, and then Jeremy Griffith made me jump in. So
I cursed the event. 50 points to NorCal for cursing the event. Yeah, I kind of feel like 3 trails every year. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a naysayer of events or anything like that.
Although
to me, you've been to an event, you don't have to go to very many after that. You've seen one trail, you've seen a bunch of trails. I know, living in California, I had a bunch of really awesome places to crawl. I got a bunch of awesome places to crawl here in Tennessee. Like for me to go to Badlands, it's literally a 9-hour drive to get to Attica. And I can't, I mean, I can't, I don't want to spend 9 hours in the car to go to an RC event.
Yeah, I think it was 14 hours, but then when we drove back, see, now there's only one pass back through the Rockies, really. Either you had to go north or south.
Yeah.
And when we got back into the pass to get back on our side of the Rockies or whatever, there was a fire. And then we got to where there was a flood. We had to go around that. Like, no, man, like getting home took about 18 hours. So it's about another 4 or 5 hours to my trip.
Well, and I know, like Earl mentioned it earlier, like, in California, you have really awesome weather. You have a bunch of really awesome places to crawl. The only problem is it takes you 10 hours to go 4 miles in California. So I've answered this. We went on the 1-to-1 for half a day, held the 24th comp for half a day, and then we went through the cards to find winners. Rock racing is a half a day.
Crawling into bed is hard enough for me.
I hear you there, Earl.
I'll give 100 points to the squirrel for Tony Clifton, and then I will throw 10 more points at Earl.
And I'll throw 50 more points at Earl because, I know I know the pain is real. Oh yeah. Ooh, you got a little green mutilating.
Too funny.
Yeah, back to the blue. I like the blue the best, but yeah, I mean, I know that conversations like Rob Matthews about USTE that it's really difficult to run all the trails at UST unless you're like hustling and you're going to spend all 4 days just doing nothing but trails.
Now, I do remember people coming up to me and being like, yeah, I just did all these trails and I'll see you tomorrow because I got to go get some rest. So RC, we talked about like the RC Dakar or something.
Both you. I actually a couple shows ago I talked about doing some kind of RC event that would span over a week, and it would be a true endurance. You know, every single day you're going to be out on the trails with your RC, running in stages that range from anywhere from 4 hours to 8 hours.
This is when I'm going to need one of those backpacks that contain the bear skin fucking solar panel so I can recharge my batteries at night.
Well, I mean that's part of the trick is it's making an unlimited deal so you do whatever you want. If you got to carry around 30 pounds of batteries in your pack,
thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for coming, Tony. Appreciate it. Yeah, don't forget to share our show on your podcast. Shameless plug.
Oh my God, he's have you no shame?
No shame whatsoever.
No shame. I just told him, have a good Wednesday, Tony. Jeez.
Yes, have a good one, Tony. Thanks for popping in, man. Appreciate it. It's always nice to have new folks here hanging out with us in the show. Done. Hey, you're the man. But yeah, like the RC Dakar would be freaking awesome, and it would be a true endurance. Like the Recon G6, yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. This is the only you do what you need to do.
Shoot that needs to be said, stuff that needs to be said, garbage, anything you want to plug in there is fine.
I think you took it a bit too far this time. I love
it. Hey, what is life if you can't do some shameless plugging?
Where is Frank, by the way?
I don't know. I need,
I'll just do a beep.
The Dakar 500, the Dakar 50 miles. Yeah. 50 miles in a week.
I thought like a 100-mile trek across the desert or something.
I mean, like, what would be a better place to do it than go to Moab?
Right.
Go to Moab for a week of hell. 5 days, 10 miles a day, anything you want to do.
And I can tell you, depending on what week you choose, it really could be a week of hell because it can be 100 and almost 30 degrees out there on the rocks in the summer.
It's definitely got to be like a springtime deal because you don't want to make it impossible. Plus 100 degrees out in the desert sucks if you're out there walking 10 miles. 10 miles is a trek. If it's 75, 80 degrees, it's doable. But also you're going to have your car's going to be overheating. You're also going to be trekking around with stuff.
I can tell you your GoPro kind of just does not hate. It just hates that shit.
That's not fair to retards. Life is not fair, NorCal. 50 points for NorCal just for saying retard.
It's like a really short dick joke right there.
Personally, I think we need to take there's a bunch of things we need to take back from the woke community. I'm scrolling out here.
All right.
My wife mentioned it. Rainbows won. Um, that we need to take that back because rainbows are rooted from the Bible. The explanation of rainbows that was God's promise to never flood the earth again. And somehow or another, the fruit bags have decided to steal that and make it their universal symbol.
I thought it was like that Pink Floyd thing, like where it comes in and it comes out, the rainbow.
Light refraction and all of that. Don't go all scientific. We're just talking about
the miracle of it. Oh, okay, yeah. It is pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
The other thing we need to take back is retard. Okay, because and several other words, but I'm not gonna mention those because I might get myself in trouble. But retard is if you're a mechanic, you know the word retard very well because you can retard the timing on your engine. It's been around since the dawn of engines. And it was one of those things like, when I was growing up, it wasn't calling somebody retarded or something retarded didn't really have a reference to an actual like retarded person or special needs person. Anybody out there that's special needs and I happen to offend, bummer.
I mean, if Operation Lemon Charlie guys can do it, we can do it too, right?
Yeah. I'm getting rid of the pizza oven bans. New York has gone full retard. Full. They've gone full retard. Yeah. I don't even understand that. But yeah, we need to take that word back because it's a word that is commonly used and it is necessary to describe things like the banning of wood stoves in New York, pizza ovens in New York City. New York City pizza. That's like macaroni and cheese, like peanut butter and jelly, And you're going to ban pizza ovens because of the environment.
Cut off my nose to spite my face.
I
don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to say.
New York, full retard. Full retard. Now they took away
the first censored comment of all evening. You jackoff's gonna talk about dirt bikes all night.
Tony, Mr. Entertainment Club. Hey, if mentally challenge your timing too much, the damn car won't run. I'm the Special Olympics mascot now. First place every time. 50 points for Earl and 50 points.
I'm just going to throw 100 points to everybody right there. What the hell? Thanks, everybody, for showing up to this shit show.
It's the shit. It's the shit show every week. I mean, we could just call it the shit show, but it's the shit that needs to be said show. Because sometimes you just... you too close. Thank you, Mr. Clifton. 50 points, Tony Clifton, just because. I don't know how far things are going to have to go down the toilet before the 81 million retards that voted for the senile old fart in the White House wake up and realize how badly they've been screwed and duped into, I'm going to revise that, the alleged 81 million people that voted for the idiot, senile, old fart in the White House. How long is it going to take for you all to wake up? How long? How long is it going to take? What is it going to take? Does gas have to be $15 a gallon? Does it have to cost you $8,000 to go to the grocery store? Does a F-150 pickup truck have to cost $250,000? How much has to go down the toilet before you people will wake up and see that?
Do I really have to spend $549 to buy an RC dirt bike?
If it wasn't for inflation, I guarantee you that bike would be $399. If there was somebody else in the White House that isn't a Democrat, I don't care who you are, I don't care who you vote for. I can tell you one thing. You can vote for anybody except for Democrats in the next election. Anybody. You can't vote for Democrat. They've gone full retard across the board. Everything they do is garbage. Republicans aren't much better, but it is most certainly the lesser of two retards.
Okay,
Now,
here we go. Last 15 minutes of the show. This is where shit gets
usually
wild,
we've
right?
gone off the rails by now. Yep, Bubba Q, 10% for the big guy. The big guy, who I've sold plenty of state secrets. You said that out loud with leaders of foreign countries sitting next to you. Oh, Putin is losing the war in Iraq. This is our president. He's the captain of the ship. There's at least 81 people out there that don't realize that we're on the freaking Titanic right now. And Joe Biden is the captain, steaming full speed ahead towards a field of icebergs. Hey! You never go. That's right. 100 points to Kelly Brown because you never go full retard. Because I'm a dude who's playing a dude who's playing another dude.
So I'm going to come on next week with blackface.
Oh, NorCal. That is the scary 100 points to NorCal for scaring the crap out of one of the hosts. Yee. Nobody wants her to become president. That's Joe Biden's insurance. Cue the soapbox. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got another soapbox. This one really pisses me off. Will somebody in NASCAR call up whatever team it is that Haley Deegan's driving for and tell them to fire her? She's useless. Sorry. Seems like a nice girl. Her dad's a big famous freestyle motocross guy, but she doesn't belong in the truck series. All she does is crash. She has managed 7 top 20s so far this year. She hasn't even gotten a top 10. But she has managed to crash in about 70% of the races that she's entered.
Want you to go out and hit the pace car.
Trash. And Tony Stewart said it best this week that racing, especially NASCAR, has become dad's money gets you a ride. Ty Gibbs, perfect example. Haley Deegan, perfect example. You know who's not a perfect example of that? Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson grew up a poor kid in Northern California, but he has sheer talent. Pure and simply, he's got sheer talent. One of the best drivers on the planet. And he had to work his ass off to get his way into NASCAR. And he almost screwed that up by saying the N-word on a stream. But then he came back the next season and managed to win the championship. Danger Boy is killing it because Danger Boy's actually got some talent. I think Hayden is, I think he's fantastic. And he's not quite at the level of the Lawrence brothers, but he's definitely up there. Dad has taught him well. I think Haley needs to get shit canned from the truck series. She needs to either go back down to the ARCA series. What honestly I think she needs is that kid needs to get thrown into a sprint car or a midget and run for 2 seasons on dirt track, learn a whole bunch about car control, and then try to work your way back into NASCAR.
There you
go. Because there are some great young talents out there right now that deserve the seat in that truck way more than she does. They just don't have millions of dollars to bring to the table. And that is essentially what's happening in racing. All the way to the top, Formula One. There's drivers in Formula One that don't belong there. Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz. Lance Stroll's dad owns the Aston Martin team, and he drives for them, and he absolutely sucks. And he's driving a Formula One car. $1 billion a year they spend to put them cars on the track, and they let...
Boy, seriously, only one censored comment this whole... We got 10 minutes left. I mean... You guys have been pretty mild this evening. Only once, and these guys have been pretty mild.
Well, you guys can stop it. Nobody needs to be mild in our chat. Let it loose. Let them rip. Say what you want.
I thought this was a spicy show.
It is a spicy show.
Squirrel.
Yeah, I can't believe. I can't believe what. And I pick on NASCAR all the time, but NASCAR is an absolute shit show for the level of racing that it's at, the amount of money that's there. Um, there are drivers that simply don't belong there. They don't belong. They don't have the talent to be there. And there are other drivers out there in the realm of late model dirt track racers, NASCAR Modified Series, the ARCA Series. There are guys out there that are guys and girls that have more talent than Haley Deegan, but aren't there because they don't bring $1 million with them to the table.
There's probably more truth in that right there than anything else. The economy will kill NASCAR soon. I mean, the economy will kill NASCAR sponsorship soon.
It's already has. NASCAR has lost some big sponsorships.
Oh, NorCal calling shots.
You know, it's women and men are built differently. Men are able, it's simple fact. Men are able to compartmentalize. Reaction times are quicker. Our muscles react faster. We just have an evolution on our side when it comes to something that requires hand-eye coordination. We're hunter-gatherers. That's what we do. Women are not built that way. Yes, you have an occasional talented woman driver that comes up, but the reason why they're few and far between is because it's a rare talent for a woman to have. There's a couple of great drivers out there. Jade Avedizian, driving for Keith Kunz.
Actually, one of those was completely blocked. That's pretty good.
She's a tremendous driver, but a couple weeks ago she was in a race where she was a straightaway head, and I don't remember the kid's name. He's a regular in the midget circuit. Weaved his way through traffic. He was a straightaway behind. Within 2 laps, he was in front of her, went on to win the race. That's what happens when truly talented drivers are out there. Doesn't matter the conditions, they will go out and spank everybody. Tupac Poop AC is still alive. NorCal is pushing the limits of what he can get censored for tonight's.
They don't like it when you talk about certain things where you turn in ballots, maybe to get a person to a certain position. I'm not even gonna say the words because I don't even want to come close.
Yeah, Earl, it's sad. I know everybody, especially the woke community, wants to build women up, and it's incredibly sexist and misogynistic of me to say this, but it's the reality. It's the same as the best female tennis player in the world played against the 250th ranked tennis player men in the world, and he beat her in straight sets, 6-1 and 6-2. And she said, I couldn't, this is Venus Williams or Serena Williams said, I couldn't do it. I couldn't beat him. It's just better.
Not on this show. Especially anything over 6 foot and you're trying to carry it through Tennessee.
That's what she said, NorCal.
Oh, I'm going to throw 100 points to the host of the show. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's why a male collegiate swimmer who was not even ranked in the top 200 set a new world record as a female. Because he can. It's why you don't see a lot of women transitioning and going into men's sports. I mean, yeah, maybe if it's for curling or I don't know.
I mean, I'll give you this. Some of them soccer girls could beat me.
The soccer team could beat the U.S. men's soccer team. Man, the U.S. women's soccer team couldn't even beat a bunch of retired British soccer players. Absolute recreation. That's what this show is about. It's about being able to speak your mind. There is no We don't do any censoring here. YouTube will often do it for us, but we don't do any censoring here.
Seriously.
Even if you come in here and yell and scream at us. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, our resident yeller screamer, ooh-ah.
Where's Ua? Oh yeah, I mentioned that. I mentioned that earlier. I just did. I mean, the only person who's been yelling this whole time is Tony Clifton.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't really have.
We're pretty much done with the notes.
I didn't. Did I mention about the mosquitoes? I think I mentioned it to you before the show.
I know you talked to me about it.
So, strange thing has happened. So over the last several years, the company that Bill Gates owns has been sticking genetically modified mosquitoes in Florida and Texas. Now, essentially, the idea was they were trying to get rid of mosquitoes because they don't do any good for anybody. So we don't need them. So we can make them go extinct because everybody hates mosquitoes. But oddly enough, there hasn't been a case of malaria in the United States for decades until now, where it just so happens in the same two places where they've been putting the genetically modified mosquitoes, Florida and Texas, now have reported cases of malaria. Who let Bill Gates do anything with genetic modifying anything? He stole the idea from Microsoft. He stole the software from Microsoft. He's not a genius. He was a really good salesman. And holy crap, why are we letting him do anything with anything that could potentially impact the human race? He needs to be taken out and tarred and feathered.
Them genetic skeeters attacking me as we speak. Run, Bob. Run, barbecue.
And oddly enough, the medication that you take for malaria is a medication that we can't mention by name on this show.
Because I wanted to say that comment from NorCal. You can't talk about beating your meat, apparently, either. I had to let that one fly.
You can't beat our meat. So wait, YouTube banned that?
Yeah, YouTube banned that. I had to let that through.
Screw you, YouTube. There you go.
And then Earl Moorhead, I censor myself. Dude, it's in your name, Moorhead. You can't censor yourself, man. No, I hear you.
Yeah, mosquitoes. Nobody needs them. There's no use for mosquitoes whatsoever. So, you know what? We locked everybody in their houses for a freaking cold. Why not? We just lock everybody in their houses for a couple of days and fly over with a bunch of DDT and kill all of them. Just erase mosquitoes off the face of the planet. I'm sure everybody would be more than happy to, hey, look, you got to take a couple of days off. You got to stay in your house. So stock up on toilet paper. We're going to kill all the mosquitoes. Everybody be like, oh, yeah. It'd be freaking party time, no mosquitoes. I had no idea. Now, I've traveled around a bit. I've been to the South. I've definitely been to Florida a bunch of times. And Florida is the bug capital of the United States. But freaking mosquitoes. Oh, California don't have mosquitoes. Yeah, I mean, you might find them here and there. But in the South, yeah, mosquitoes are everywhere. They attack you when you're sleeping. I can't show.
Fish. I love fish, man. Are we diving on the dark side now, where there's plastic and everything? You know, your body's like 45% plastic already. You're screwed, man. Doesn't matter what you eat or do.
Yeah. You eat too much fish, you're gonna get what the hell is that? The stuff that's in the thermometer.
Mercury.
Mercury freaking poison. NorCal.
I've never heard it.
If I had the patience to go in and actually be a politician, I probably would. I probably missed my calling because I would have loved to sit in the House of Representatives and just fling poo at Nancy Pelosi constantly. Screw decorum, screw all of that. I would have just literally brought in bags of poo, and a variety. You know,
A variety, like
variety. Just sat
one
there.
kind's not good enough.
Speaker of the House, throw poo at her. I would probably get elected president of the world for doing that. Yeah, Florida is the Australia of America. 50 points for NorCal because that's a perfect description of Florida. You got gators. You got freaking pythons the size of freaking 747s. Bugs. I can't say it enough times. The palmetto bugs down there are redonkulous.
All I'm going to say is that if you turn the map just right and you look at it, it kind of looks like America stuck its ding-dong out here off in the ocean. That's what I'm going to say. It's like
50 points to my co-host for saying ding-dong. Oh, here we go. I don't know, NorCal.
Oh, my boy.
On Friday. Oh, barbecue. Did barbecue get the answer for that one?
God, we're going to have to end the show on this note.
My man,
Yeah.
It was none. Hey, you know what? 100 points to NorCal for the joke. 500 points for barbecue for coming up with the right answer. Another 50 points for Ding Dong. Because I think in every show, somebody should say the word Ding Dong.
It's got his dingle dongle all off in the ocean over there.
Man. And see, here we are again. We hit the 2-hour mark. It is 7:30. It is that time. It is that time to say goodbye to everybody. But first, man, thank all of you guys for coming in and hanging out. It's an absolute blast to do this show every week. Thank you, Mr. Co-host over there, for hanging out and having fun and making the show fun. You know, it would be awfully freaking lame if it was just me sitting here going, I like RC cars. I took my RC car out over the weekend and I drove it over some rocks and it was fun. And then it got dirty, so I cleaned it.
The first step to having a problem is admitting that there is a problem, barbecue.
50 points to barbecue for living in the ding dong state. Sorry, man. Yep. Hey, thank you all very much. It's been an absolute blast. It is great to laugh every Wednesday. Hopefully everybody laughs more than just Wednesdays. But if you don't, come on in here because you're sure to find some laughs in here because
either that or you're sure to be totally offended.
50 points to Earl for calling us quitters.
God, I'm looking for that Depend sponsor. I got to go to the...
We got to run. JB's teeth are floating. That's what she said. Anywho, have a great week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you back here for episode 22 next Wednesday. Shit that needs to be said show. Take care, everybody. The awkward moment when the show ends at